Hello friends, today we are going to watch 8K Deathy here play Undying 5, and we're going to talk about it, as we usually do. So he's partied with the safe laner, who is Legend 5, you are Crusader 2. That's actually quite a large gap, which I would say favors you, because this gives you a lot of chance to improve when you're playing with the better people. If you don't do well, you're a little likely to get flamed though, but I mean that's how party games go. And honestly, this isn't the biggest gap in the world between Crusader to Legend. If you are focused on a couple heroes, you can easily climb, I feel like, or at least play at a level sufficient to keep up with like Legends. So even though it's a bit varied, should still be able to have a fine game. Now, as we load in, let's think about what we need to do this game. Because you were saying you usually win with Undying in the early game. That makes sense. It's what Undying does. But you feel like you have difficulty transitioning into the mid game and feel pretty useless past the 40-minute mark. Let me tell you, you should feel that way. Undying is a hero meant to be good early. And if you did not feel uncomfortable mid to late game, then this hero would be busted. You would just be like too strong. It's just like how a hard carry should feel uncomfortable in the early game. That is when they're weak and they scale later. So as Undying, it's very natural if you feel uncomfortable in this mid to late game. But we can still try to ease that by taking a look at itemization, how you're playing. If you're, trying to be too aggressive past the point where you can. In the early game, it's very easy to be aggressive with Undying. After that, he shifts to more of this team fighter kind of tank role. He doesn't necessarily want to dive like 1v3 like he can in the early game. So we'll take a look at that and see how it goes. Now, for your starting items, actually, before we talk about that, let's look at the draft. Because I want to point something out. You are a little more favored in the late game, I would say. Even though Undying is an early game hero, which is why this combo is good, but it feels a little awkward. Where Undying is really strong early, so he can make space for your late game carry. And that's what you want to do. But then you're naturally going to feel awkward in the late game because that wasn't really where your hero was meant to shine. You were meant to shine early game, and now the carry carries you late. But that combo still works. That's why you find strong supports with weak laners. And so Undying and Medusa, that should be fine. You're making space for Medusa to farm up, and she should be able to win this game with the help of the rest of your team. She could be killed, like if she's by herself in the late game against like Ursa, Drow, Slardar. Yeah, they can kill her. They could chain stun her. They provide a lot of negative armor, and they would kill her. But when you have a team around her to protect, then she should have the damage to end the game. So I would feel okay going into the late game. You also have a Legion who technically scales infinitely, a Zeus who scales very well into the late game. And on their side, they have an Ursa who tends to fall off a bit in the late game. Not so much nowadays with the change in his build, but still he's not the best late gamer because he can be kited pretty hard. Earthshaker, pretty good late game, let's be honest. Drow, decent. Slardar, decent. Tusk, drops off a little bit. Point is, with the Medusa, I feel good going into the late game. So we don't need to think about ending early, we just need to think about how to get there. So throughout this game, we're going to see if you establish an early lead. Actually, I know you do because I took a quick look at the start. And then in the mid game, our goal is to continue making space for Medusa to farm up and to prevent them from snowballing too hard. That's gameplay-wise what we're going to do. Itemization should sort of match that and should also consider that this is a very physical damage lineup. Ursa, physical, physical, physical. He's like mostly physical. He has some magic. Earthshaker, a lot of magic, but actually not that much magic. Like all his abilities are magic, but his overall damage outside of his ultimate is not like, it's not like against a Zeus or a Lina. It's just not as much damage, magic damage. So really this game, we just need to itemize against physical right clickers. So I wanted to point that out. And now let's look at your itemization as we go into the laning stage. Tango's good. A Mango is a little low. See, Windlace, I get the idea. You're probably against Slardar and Tusk, and the Windlace helps you chase, helps you keep distance, because you're going to be running a lot. But the thing is, if they get on top of you, you're not really running away, are you? Because this guy has a bash and a slow. And later, eventually, he has a speed boost. Tusk, he can stun you. He's got a slow. He can ice shard you off. So once you are next to them, you're not really getting away with move speed. And because you're Undying, you want to get next to them. So I don't think you actually need a Windlace. I kind of think like both of them are heavy physical. Like maybe a Ring of Protection, maybe more stats, consumables. That's kind of what I'm leaning to. More consumables. I think Undying is a hero who, if he can't cast spells, he's useless. And so it kind of scares me that you only have one mango. Unless you use all your starting gold from the bounty runes to get more. But there's no guarantee you'll get bounty runes every single game. So, I don't know. If you really want the Windlace, I think it's okay. But then maybe instead of 2 Iron Branches, I would get another mango. But I know a lot of the Undyings I've watched have gone heavy consumables to start the game. But, like, in the end, I don't think it's that bad. But it's just my considerations. We'll speed up a little bit here. I might walk out further. You're quite safe, so I would... ideally, your carry would be next to you, but I still think it's okay for you to walk down, take a look, see if they're trying to ward or anything. I keep that in mind. Now, you are against 2 melee strength heroes, so you should have a pretty good time in lane as an Undying. Start off with a double decay. Good stuff. I would try to focus the same guy between the two of you. You know, Medusa's attacking Tusk and you're attacking Slardar. That means they're both going to get down to about half, but if both of them are attacking you, you would die first if you were like any other support besides Undying. So try to coordinate with your carry, like hit the same guy. You don't even need to talk about it necessarily. Just see who your carry is hitting and then hit that guy. But if you think about it, Tusk, less health than a Slardar. Oh, actually, I'm wrong. Tusk has more health. I thought Slardar had more health. Crazy. Maybe Slardar is the target then. The Slardar has more armor, so I kind of still feel like not the guy. Now at this point, he chased up by himself, so you're going to get a kill, which is a great start, actually. 2 kills. I feel like that shouldn't have worked out for you, but it did. I don't know why he chased so hard, because you are an Undying. I like this, trying to zone them out. Set Medusa up for a good time. Double decays. Great stuff. You're close to level 2. I might consider... So, first off, you zone them off from a bit of XP. Next, look at your creeps. When this... Actually, you've already hit it. Pause too late. But this actually represents a power spike for you. Now, when you have a Medusa, you don't necessarily need to act on this because Medusa just wants to farm. But say you had a more aggressive carry, like Ursa, actually, or even Drow can do it, Juggernaut. Looking for this level advantage when you have more creeps, just because of the way it ended up working out. You have more creeps, you're a strong support, you hit level 2, they're both level 1. This would be a great time to play aggressive. Maybe you can. With the Medusa, you don't necessarily have to force it, though. Like, you're just happy if Medusa's farming freely. But you can be a little more aggressive around this time. And another kill. Another double kill. Great. Now you're out of mana. Let's see. Did you buy more? You did. I would buy a little more. So, like, that's why I usually see people start with, like, 3 mangoes and then maybe buy, like, even another mango, a clarity. But I like the idea. You're buying more consumables for the lane, so I think that's good. I don't know if I would want boots first. You've already got the Windlace. And as you've seen, because they're melee heroes, they have to walk up to you. So catching up to them is not really your issue. I feel like you would want something... If you're talking about snowballing more from the start, sometimes boots lets you do that. But I feel like Undying just wants to fight a lot, and so stat items, or not necessarily stat items, but early game items are helpful for that. So maybe a magic stick if you're trying to force a lot of fights, like a buckler, a ring of Basilius, these things that help your lane fight more, depending on who your lane partner is. Those might be my considerations for starting items. I don't hate boots, though, to be honest. a pull. That's good. Be a little careful of Medusa on her own. Keep an eye on that. But overall, everything's good right now. Salved up, ready to fight again. Great. Then you posture a little aggressively. Like, look at them. They're actually both level 1, and you are both level 3. Like, even though this is a Medusa who wants to farm, like, this degree of level difference is actually time to just go crazy and fight a ton. Like, don't even let them walk up to lane. Like, you alone could probably fight them a bit. And just, like, make their life really difficult. Don't let them walk up here. And, I mean, you are kind of doing it, but, like, I would even like this to be up here, you know? Because you guys have such a level advantage, like, they can actually get XP from here. And we actually see he hits level 2. Whereas if you're up here zoning them away from the creeps, because you're level 3 and they're both level 1, like, you have more skill points than they do between two heroes. That's crazy. And so I think you could just fight that. And if they both, like, try to attack you, you're going to get easy double decays. And then Medusa can even posture up here, so that she can help you when these fights break out. Like, say you're zoning them here, Medusa stands here and farms. Like, she can reach all these creeps from here. And now if a fight breaks out, she can easily walk up, add some right clicks, throw in a Mystic Snake, and then you keep these guys at level 1.
See you later, nerds.
But this is the right idea, playing a bit aggressive, trying to zone them out. I'm just being nitpicky to push it even further. I wonder if it would be better to heal yourself there instead, but you're going to get a double kill, so at the end of the day, not a huge deal. And I think you bought your boots. See what else you buy. You have a bit of money. Alright. So raindrops are generally good, but think about the lane you're against. I kind of don't like these as much against these two. Because this, it'll block damage for instances over 50 and up to 120. Which means to get the maximum value out of raindrops, we want them to block over 120 magic damage each time. Smash, or Crush, I don't know why I call it Smash. Slitherine Crush does 80 damage right now. Tusk, his level 1 Snowball does 80 damage. Ice Shards does 70 damage. Which means they could waste several of your charges on raindrops with their level 1 spells, and you're not really getting full value out of it. And if you just want mana regen, Ring of Basilius is not bad. You know, Medusa, her mana shield, like, she wants mana. And so the Bassi is pretty nice for her. The mana's great for you. Look at who's on your team. As you start to group up with them later in the game, Legion, like, she's happy with some more mana. I mean, everyone is, right? She's not a huge case for it. But Zeus, excellent case for it. Lena, another excellent case for it. Now, she already has a Bassi, but you won't always be next to her, and I don't hate the idea of having 2 Ring of Basiliuses. But if you don't want it, maybe you could just get a Sage's Mask, because another good item this game could be a fast medallion, because they are all heavy physical damage. So I just released the video on medallion. Maybe you haven't watched it yet. Probably not. I think it literally came out like 2 hours ago. I'm going to contradict myself a little bit. I know your team is not high tempo necessarily, because we already talked about Medusa wants to get to the late game. But what that means is that your team needs to survive to the late game. And they are a team that could play at a very fast early tempo. So having an early medallion, especially against a team that is like straight physical damage, is a really good way to protect your carry or whoever, like your offlaner if you go up there, because they're all so physical damage based. Plus you have a Legion, so whoever she ults, you medallion that target, like you're helping get dual kills. And because you guys are doing so well, medallion is a great early aggressive item to snowball that. So if that's what you're looking for, maybe with Medusa it's not the best pairing, but anytime you have a more aggressive carry, I would say medallion could be fantastic. Like, say you have an Ursa, isn't that scary? You're adding, like, you have 6 armor under tower. Let's take a look at their armor. He has 6, okay? Ignore the armor from the tower. This guy has 4. A medallion puts them at 0. 0 armor, even less than that in Tusk's case. That means your carry is essentially doing pure damage with their right clicks, which is a large damage increase at this point of the game. So medallion can be good on Undying if it fits the game, and I think in this case, it could. And it gives you more mana regen. Say you get that Sage's Mask, it's not that much worse than a Raindrops. It'll build into the rest. Now, it doesn't make you a little bit tankier, kind of like this Raindrops does, but again, like, the magic damage is not that great in this lane, and that's why I don't love it. I think just a magic stick would work. A magic stick and maybe like another mango. I think that would solve the same thing, and it would scale a little better. To be fair, this Raindrops will last a while, I suspect, against this team. They aren't that magic damage focused, so that part is kind of good. Right here, you'd be playing really aggressive. Right up here, right on the front line. Now, don't right-click them. You know, don't draw the creep aggro to you. But, like, see how Slardar's up here? And he's even in range to, like, run in, get this last hit, and then dart out. But if you stand here and Slardar's up here, yeah, they might get some XP, and you can't really zone them further because they're under their tower. But he's not going to get any last hits. He's not going to get a chance to run up here, hit this, and run out. And while you stand here and zone this, Medusa can get the last hits and denies very easily, and maybe she can even do a pull on her own while you continue to zone them out. But I like that you're looking for denies. I think that's good. All right, she used Snake on the lane, so you're definitely going to have to pull. Good stuff. Heal Medusa. All good.
See you later, nerds.
Again, this is another position. You have the lead, so keep that in mind. Like, you really are in the lead in this lane. And so your posturing can always just be a little more aggressive. Like, staying up here. I mean, I have this issue with Undying, too. I'm not used to, like, playing so aggressive. But it's easier to see when you're not playing and point it out. So for you, like, you're really strong right now. Always think about where's the XP that the enemy wants to get. It's right here. And so I want to push them away as much as I can. So if I stand here, and then they have to stand here, like, they're further away from the XP. They're definitely not getting last hits. Maybe they are able to sap some XP. But anytime I see a creep about to die, for example, I could rush forward. I could push in up and make them, like, back up further, and now they're out of range of XP. And then I don't want to be out of position, so I come back a little bit. They walk in. I see that more creeps are about to die. I push in further, try to make them back up, and just try to keep them out of the XP range. When you have the lead, you don't want to let them, like, soak XP and catch up. Like, you can actually continue to just bully them out.
See you later, nerds.
A very easy kill. Oops, let's get back to your perspective. Oh, good skill build. Okay, I like this. I actually don't think you need to chase the Tusk, though. I don't think you're going to get this kill. But with this Tombstone down, you're going to hit these creeps, and I think you could help Medusa farm them. Actually, it kind of looks like she's okay, maybe. So maybe just chasing the Tusk is fine. Yeah, actually, she looks fine, so this is good. I don't think I would use Soul Rip there because there are no creeps nearby, so just save your mana on that. I do think you should have gotten this rune. I think you got a little distracted chasing him, lost track of time. No big deal, just gonna point it out. But that's definitely a rune you could have gotten. You could have even gotten 2 runes. So if we go back, right here. So right here, you accidentally draw the creep aggro, so that could be a downside. So, like, chasing Tusk up to here, I think is good. Note the time. Walk this way. Slardar's dead for now. You know, we got the 2 people in the top lane, this guy in the mid lane. So it's relatively safe, especially because you're in the lead, to walk over here, or to even try to steal the rune, walk up there. And, you know, 15 seconds about, so you have time to, like, get up there, be right on the rune in time. That way you wouldn't have drawn these creeps. And now with these creeps on you, you can't go to the runes. You have to, like, run back to lane. And now you could still get the rune right here in the river, but you missed the timing a bit. But that was like a chance to get both runes there, which would have been really cool. Now I see you finishing Tranquils. I don't think you need that. I'm going to point it out. Let's wait till Tranquils actually get here to talk about it. Because that is when, like, okay, you now have the item. What can you do with it? Right here again. Yeah, standing up front. I possibly get a rune in this game. Or not a rune, sorry. A ward. because you're reaching that point where Medusa could potentially be left alone. Actually, you did get it, so that's fine. But yeah, have the ward, and I hope to see you place it somewhere in this area to make Medusa safe, and you can actually start to consider moving top. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll just stay up here and continue to zone them out. But at least the ward will help you see where people are to make that decision. But let's talk about your items right now. Tranquils. You have full health. You also have a fantastic heal on Undying. Soul Rip is actually so good. Cost efficient wise, the heal is excellent. Which means you don't really need Tranquils ever as an Undying. As long as you have mana, you'll have health. Now, of course, Tranquils are quite cheap, so it's easier to get Tranquils rather than mana. But still, you like steal strength, you heal yourself. You know, Tranquils just don't feel great on Undying, especially because you're going to play aggressive, you're going to be at the front lines, which means Tranquils are going to get canceled every time in a team fight. So it's only good when you're roaming around, but Undying doesn't really roam around. Undying pushes a lane slowly and steadily, which means he's always near creeps, and he could just soul rip himself for more health. So what can we get instead? You could actually get Arcane Boots this game. Look at your team. Loves mana, loves mana, loves mana. What can we do with Arcanes? We could build them into a Greaves, Guardian Greaves, which gives armor. Look at this. Physical, we talked about it. Physical, 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 physical. Fantastic. For the team fighting to transition late. Give your mana to Medusa for yourself as well, so that like when you have Tranquils, you can always cast Soul Rip, right? Which means your health problem is solved by solving your mana problems. I don't mind an early wand. It kind of lets you fight a little more, clears up some slots because you had those Iron Branches. But at the same time, maybe I would just get the stick, save that bit of money, don't get Tranquils, save up for Arcane Boots. Like, you are doing pretty well. I think when you bought this, you had like a decent amount of money. And so, you know, just imagine that. You wouldn't have to buy Clarities. You'd have to play a little conservatively while you save up for Arcanes. So maybe one Clarity to tide over. But I think you could get a pretty fast Arcane Boots, and that would be really nice for your team, and it's pretty solid on Undying. But Tranquils just tends to, like, I don't think it's really an item he needs that much. You've TP'd mid. Looks like they were going on your Zeus. See, so, downside, try to get the ward out before. Now, unfortunately, I see that they already have a sentry here. You wouldn't have necessarily known that. But at least placing the ward, it gets dewarded. You know they have a sentry. Like, I wouldn't blame you for not realizing they already had a sentry here. But sometimes that is a consideration, and I've been trying to get better about it. When I'm trying to leave this ward here to protect them for a long time, I'm trying to make myself remember to get a sentry as well, even though it is a bit expensive. And to deward this area to make sure they don't have a sentry, and then place the ward down, and to avoid just like a free deward like what would have happened. I'm looking at the minimap, by the way, because I can see the sentry here. I know there's like, if you're only looking at the screen, you're like, what's he talking about? But I can see the sentry here because of the replay bugs. So now, like, you've TP'd out and rotated, and I think that's good. Like, they were going on your Zeus, let's go help him out. But it does mean Medusa has to be a little scared now. Which means, what do you want to do? Like, you've won the bottom lane, right? She's 6, he's 4. I would consider this a win. And in fact, let's pull up the net worth. Like, this is a win. You've got Medusa to the top lane. You guys got like 6 kills or something, so it's definitely a 1 lane. You can move around. You're Undying. You could go top and pressure them, but we want to make sure Medusa's safe. So right now, you're in this awkward position where you did want to TP here to help him. Now what you want to do, you'd like to walk top and tell Medusa, hey, just be a little safe for a minute because my TP's on cooldown, but this is where I want to play. And you could do that if she had a ward to see when she's getting ganked, and she'll just hide behind the tower for a little bit. But now, she doesn't have anything. And she has to play very scared, which means you, like, if you want to play this ward, you now have to walk down here, drop it, and then walk all the way back up. And that's a waste of, like, 30 seconds plus. Whereas you could just be, like, top in half that time. And so if you had placed that ward before TPing, it would be a little more ideal. Whereas now it's, like, a little awkward. And now it's going to kind of like force you to walk back bottom, even though where you want to be is top. It'd be a great time to stack.
There
Try to keep that in mind as you walk between lanes. Check the time. Medusa, very good at clearing stacks. Ooh. Close. Oh, nice. That's more damage than I thought. Okay, right now. Oh, where'd you place your ward? Oh, you put it here to protect Zeus. Okay, you have a courier on the way. I hope there's a ward in here. Because you need to place one. Okay, you have it. I'd run right back. Pop this clarity. Put these in. Let's see if you do this, actually. Okay, you swap it out. I would have used the clarity, because you need the mana. Okay, great. D-ward, drop a ward. Place a ward down. I think you want to protect this area. I think right now, Medusa is not ready to switch to this offlane to farm here, because you guys still have, like, they still have their tower, which means this isn't the best place for Medusa to farm. What Medusa wants to do right now is farm this general area, and then anytime she sees the lane push in, she comes here, defends it, and then goes back to farming the jungle. But to do that safely, she really needs a ward, like, in this area. You're walking up here. Maybe you're about... Let's see. This helps a little bit. Like, if I had to choose one of these wards, I think this ward is better than this one. Why? Because we see more their side. We can see Tusk coming through here. This ward is still good, though, because sometimes Tusks like to roam around the back here and defend. But what if Tusk dies or something? He TPs down here, or he walks down here, and he, like, comes through here. You're not going to see it from this ward. You can't see Tusk in this area, which means this area is very dark for Medusa. These wards just, like, overlap a bit too much in their function. Usually you want, like, one or the other, not both of these. Now, if this ward had been, like, more over here, I would like that more, because, for one, it doesn't overlap with this one. I'm looking at the minimap right now, by the way, sorry. But if you had placed the sentry, or the ward here, you see this area, so you see Tusk coming through here, and it also spots this area. So you know if, like, someone TP'd down here and they ran through here, because this ward would see it, which makes this area a little safer for Medusa. And if they are walking straight down lane, well, hopefully Medusa has pushed out the lane, and so now if they walk straight through the lane, the creeps will be spotted. And if the lane's, like, over here, yeah, there's a bit of risk that someone could walk straight down here. But I don't know. Like, no ward is perfect. No ward sees everything. But I would like this ward to be a little more over here or down here. Make it a little safer for Medusa. Now, unfortunately, it's going to get dewarded. That should let you know that they have something there. Instead of necessarily needing sentries, an option when you have Zeus is to have more people rotate in and push up and have Zeus deward with his spells. That saves you the sentry cost, gets more money to Zeus. But unfortunately, it's a little awkward for your team, because right now I think you just want to be top. Well, like, this is actually what this ward is great for. You see this. I don't know if you had to run in, actually, but I think you guys are ahead enough where it's going to be fine. Great. She's trying to kill her. Oh, okay. So, let's deward. Let's see. You have one ward. Let's see what you do with it. Okay, great. This is actually exactly the ward I was talking about. So do you see the difference this makes? Let's actually look at this, because now it's easier to tell. I'm looking at the minimap. Where before we had it... But I only want to see the radiance. Okay. Before we had the ward here, and we saw this little, like, oval of vision, but we couldn't really see people rotate through here. But now we have this one, which covers this spot, just like this ward. And it now spots people who, like, TP here and run around this way, which would be a very common gank path if you're trying to kill this Medusa farming down here. To, like, TP down here, smoke around this area, or maybe no smoke and just running down. But a lot of times it's going to come through here, because most people are smart enough not to just walk straight down the lane. They, like, take these paths. And now this path is spotted. So I really like this ward a lot more than the other. And I hope it's clear why. Now it's safe to walk top. Now that you have the ward down, it's a little later than it could have been. So actually, at this timing, 10 minutes, I think you could have stayed bottom to try to get their runes. But the idea of making your way top, I think, is good. Oh, you TP'd up here? Okay, I'm fine with that, because stuff was happening. Unfortunate. A little aggressive, but actually they just walk into the tombstone, so it's fine. So technically, this is good for them, because you guys were in the lead and they've now traded kills. So in that part, it's not great that you guys died up here, like playing so aggressively. Like, you don't need to go this ham. But you've drawn a lot of attention top. And now look, Medusa's just free farming. She's at their tier 2. I actually don't think Medusa, so you can tell your Medusa player, your friend. Medusa doesn't care about... I know this is a free tower and it's weird to say because usually it's like always like push towers. Medusa as a hero just wants farm. Right now you've pushed up to their tower. Hitting this tower would give you, Medusa, like 150 gold, right? If you eventually take it. But you're not going to take it right now. It's almost full health. Like, who cares if you take this tier 2 at 11 minutes? Or you could go farm this, which gives you more gold to yourself in less time than it would take to get this tower. You could farm this. This is like kind of aggressive farming. Maybe these ancients because you have the ward, but you could just run right back to your jungle and farm all of this. And this would get you a lot more gold on Medusa than pressuring this tower. Yeah, that's all I want to say on that. But either way, no matter what your Medusa does, this is free space for them to farm. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe getting the tower is good. But I do think that if I was a support, I just want Medusa to get gold. I don't need her to pressure towers, especially if it's like a T2. T2 in the offlane tower, like who cares about that one? Coming up here. Okay. Did he initiate on her? That's what it sounded like. Oh no, he's just in the lane. Okay, okay. Okay, don't go too ham. Alright, but it's fine. So I just want you guys to get this tower right now. Medusa getting ganked. This is the downside of TPing up here, right? You can't help her. Let's go back in time a little bit. Let's see when you TP'd up here. Well, you TP'd up here, which means where can you be? You can only be up here. It takes you a really long time to walk down here. Also, you forgot to buy another teleport. Try to do that every time you leave. But you came up here, which means you're stuck up here. It would take you about, especially with tranquils, you know, I don't think you should have got tranquils, but now that you have them, you have a lot of move speed. So it would have taken you about 25 seconds, I would guess, to walk up here. So by 11:50, let's see what you have accomplished. Because the lane is right here. Like, nothing's happening quite yet. So in that time, you dewarded a sentry. Not bad. You weren't really needed for this kill. Nothing has really happened, right? When you TP'd here, honestly, this Ursa kill shouldn't have even happened. I don't know why he's walking up so far without seeing more people. But, like, nothing really happened in those 25 seconds, right? So you could have just walked up here, which means you would still have your teleport. You would still be here in time to participate in these, like, late game kills, but you would have the ability to teleport bottom to help your Medusa right now. We'll go back a bit. As soon as she like starts getting gone on, you start TPing. You might not actually make it in time to save her. It's kind of close. You might have finished a TP and been able to soul rip her, throw down some stuff. In the end, she might have still died in this case, but you see that you had the ability to rotate down there. And that's kind of what matters. To have that opportunity to save your hard carry. Even if they die, it's still the right idea to try to do it. Now, if by the time you see her, there's already like 3 people on her, okay, you know, maybe we just let her die at that point. But we want to be able to rotate to these kind of things, and we can't do that if we TP top when we're not quite needed yet. Let's see. I don't like this Glimmer cape. Why don't I like this Glimmer cape? Physical, 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 physical. He also reveals invis units. So I don't think the Glimmer does anything for you. you're not really going to. I mean, you'll kind of be able to use it as an escape, right? If Ursa finds you alone, he may not be carrying dust, so it's an escape on that end. But in a full team fight, Slardar, he's gonna have his ult going out. You know, if they see you have a Glimmer, some of them are gonna carry dust. So the escape part is really like it's lost value. Well, is the magic resistance any good? No, it's not, because they're like all physical damage. Armor items are what you want to buy here. So instead of a Glimmer Cape, hide this. Instead of a Glimmer Cape, which is about 2,000 gold, 1,900, what could you buy? You could get a mech. 75 gold more expensive, but +4 armor for yourself, and then 3 armor to everyone. So for you, it is 7 armor, which is fantastic. That like triples your armor that you have, which is great because you are going to be playing in the front for your team, making space for Medusa, protecting your backline heroes here. You and Legion want to be the ones up front, so you would have a lot more armor, which, you know, is great against these guys, and it buffs up your team a bit. Even a casual buckler would be great. I might even do both. Get the mech and then get another casual buckler. Because all we need to itemize against is physical damage. What else could we do? Forstaff, not the best. It's like kind of okay to get over these like physical terrain skills and to kite a little bit, but doesn't give you armor. You're not really having mana issues. You know, I really like Guardian Greaves this game. The medallion could have also been good to empower your team. If they go on you by yourself and you don't use medallion, you have a bit of armor. Crimson's a little weird to me. I think these guys hit hard. They're like a little bit in the middle, but I think they're more likely to hit hard rather than hit frequently, if that makes sense. Like, Crimson Guard's really good against PL, who attacks a lot of times and does less damage. These guys, like, she pierces armor and he attacks a lot, but he eventually builds up a ton of Fury Swipes damage and does a ton of damage all in one hit. And Crimson Guard's not so good against that. So I think like a mech, being able to heal stuff, that's really good. Drums could also give your team some tempo. It doesn't have the armor, but helps you play faster. I don't think it's quite... Actually, it would be okay with a Legion, a Lina who attacks a decent amount, and then if you still have some charges in the late game for your Medusa, like, that's okay. So that's all right. And then maybe a Halberd, because, again, they're all right clickers, so Halberd, you know, you disarm someone, but it also gives you a lot of self HP regen, which is fantastic on Undying. You know, you're just going to be a very tanky person. The evasion, when they go on you because you're the frontline tank, you're dodging some of their attacks. So those are the items that come to mind for me. Maybe a Solar Crest in the later game too. I think all of those would be really good, but I don't think this Glimmer is very good. So that itemization, that's kind of a big deal. That's 1,900 gold. And so putting it in an item that is not going to provide you a lot of value, you know, that makes it harder. That makes it harder to snowball if you're not spending your money on the best things. To me, it's essentially like you're just not spending that 1,900 gold, because I just don't think Glimmer's useful. But maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe we'll see it ends up being more useful than that. But I would suspect it's not, and it shouldn't be, for the reasons I explained. Maybe if they don't buy a lot of detection and the Slardar's not good about his ultimate, maybe it provides an escape a couple times, but that is the enemy misplaying rather than the item being good, you know? So if you eventually reach good opponents who are using detection and all that, then it's not going to be a useful item. A little bold to walk up here by yourself. I think you were looking for the rune. I don't hate it, but you know, let's look at the decision leading up to that. I believe a fight had recently broken out there. We know that there's at least 2 in this area. You know, looking at the mini-map. So he dewards, and we see a 3rd one there. So I think this is a bit scary to walk up here. I think this is a bit of an unnecessary risk. Now, sometimes if you have like an alchemist, it's not so bad to risk your life. But at the same time, you see 3 heroes in this area, you know, probably not worth it. Let's speed up a little bit. TPing bottom. Now, I don't mind this TP because, like, the fight is happening now. Actually, was that your TP? Yeah, it was. Okay. I can't see you on the screen. Because the fight is happening now. So you see, like, okay, it would have taken 25 seconds to walk down here. What happens in the next 25 seconds? Well, Medusa's showing herself, and they're going on her. You see how you're doing something, like, right now, where you're getting stuck in the trees a little bit. But, like, you've helped get this kill. You're in this area. Things are happening now. And so that's why that TP was really good. Oh, you got both? Nice. But you see that difference, right? How this one, stuff happens immediately. And that top TP, like, nothing was really going on. And we can see that based on, like, what was happening. In the top lane, like, the lane was here. You already had 2 heroes in this area. And so, you know, what's going to happen right away? Nothing really. Unless they suddenly pop a bunch of heroes out and start attacking your team. In which case, yeah, you could TP. Like, you started walking, and you see they go on this gank. It's like, oh, I'll TP now. Because something is happening now. But otherwise, I have time to walk. And here, we see that they are pushing into our tower. We see multiple heroes down here. It's like, oh, something's going to happen right now. I can TP. I want to defend this tower as soon as possible.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I don't want to be too harsh on that because it is really hard to know, like, when it is good to TP or not.
See you later,
Keep that in
nerds.
mind. Now, I don't mind this high ground ward.
To their bottom tower.
It is a little bit overlapping with this one, but at the same time, if your team plans to take this tower, I don't hate it. I think it's all right because you want good vision to fight here. You don't want to feed, like, too many kills. I would be a little scared all grouping up, but I guess this guy doesn't have blink, right? Yeah. I don't know how good of a feeling you guys have for that, but it wouldn't be crazy to me if an Earthshaker had blink around this time. Now I know you guys are winning, and so he's having a rough time, but just keep that in mind. Be a little scared. I know it's not you, it's your team that is all grouped up, but keep that. You know, if it ever is you, consider it. I know you guys are winning, but it's like, well, how could we start to lose from here? What if we all got blink echoed right now? Even if you don't think he has the blink quite yet, like, what's the harm in spreading out a little bit so that we can't get blink echoed? Really good stack here, by the way. I like that a lot. I wouldn't... You really want to be involved in the team fights, though. And so if your team is still here, you need to still be here. I'm not sure what you are doing quite yet. Let's see. But if someone is going to leave, it should probably be one of the cores or, like, Lena, you know? You want to be next to everyone. Now, fortunately, you are back in time before anything happened. But what if, while you were walking over here, a fight broke out? And then by the time you walk over here, someone's already dead. Like, you have the heal, you have the Glimmer, which is technically a save item, even though I don't think it's, like... I don't think it's the best save item in this game, but it's still a save item. And so it's like, I can only use these if I'm next to the fight. Now, we're going to have to speed up a bit, because I think this is a 50-minute game. But at the same time, I think this early game stuff is important to critique, because that's like, this is when Undying's good. Now, for the next, like, 5-10 minutes, that is when Undying feels really great, especially if you had a strong start. And then after that, he's going to start dropping off. Like you mentioned, like, after the 40-minute, you start to feel not so good. So we need to make sure, like, okay, before those 40 minutes, are we making the best use of our time? Playing up here with your team, I think this is good. Not fully necessary. Like, I don't think Medusa needs to be here right now. But at the same time, I don't hate it, because you guys are kind of ahead at this time. I don't hate that you guys are, like, forcing objectives and let Medusa, like, farm this triangle while the 4 of you take this tower or something. Again, be a little careful of walking right up here, because we are expecting this blink timer, like, any time now. Just, like, stand a bit far off. Your damage to the tower is, like, really not that significant. Let's see what led up to this team fight loss, right? Because you guys are in the lead right now. So first, you guys are, like, on the tower. Medusa's way over here. So you guys can push up because you're in the lead. But still, you don't want to give an opening. Medusa, top net worth. But if you subtract 9,000 because she's not here, you know, you're 5k ahead. Without Medusa, you guys are 4k behind. And so if she's way over here when a fight breaks out, it's not going to feel great. Zeus is a bit out of position in my opinion. See how you're still visible during this Glimmer? So it's like, what does it really do? And now we're a bit split up. Who is the most important hero for you to protect? Medusa and Zeus. At this point of the game, I think it might actually be Zeus because they don't have BKBs yet, so his magic damage is really strong right now, and Medusa is still working on her items. So it's a bit split between the two. There are merits to protecting both at this point, but you're way over here next to the Legion, who's, you know, not so important to be protecting. I like the idea of trying to put Tombstone in a difficult to reach spot, but also look at where they are. Your heroes are over here, which means the fight is going to be over here. And Tombstone goes to about here. So I think I would prefer a Tombstone maybe in these trees for two reasons. One, it's going to draw their attention. I know Tombstone might die kind of quickly, but is that the worst if it means that they are hitting this Tombstone instead of hitting this Medusa or hitting the... Well, Zeus is dead now, so oops, a little late on that end. Your team wants to disengage right now because you just lost Zeus. So putting the Tombstone here means they have to run. First, they're going to be affected by Tombstone right away. They're slowed. And if they want to chase all the way, they're in Tombstone the entire time. Plus, maybe they decide, okay, we should kill Tombstone right away. That gives your team time to get away. They kill the Tombstone, get some money from that, but the Medusa lives. Lena, maybe she lives. Maybe, like, all of you live, you know? So there are times when it's like, okay, I want this Tombstone to survive as long as possible. And then there are times when I need the Tombstone to actually act as a distraction, where it's good if they focus on the Tombstone. And if they ignore it, you know, that's kind of still good too, because Tombstone is going to do what it does. It builds up a lot of zombies, slows them, does damage. And that would be good. I think that was the blink reveal. Yeah. Okay, Glimmer doesn't help. I just need to... not in a flame way, you know, but I need to point it out. Where it's like, this is why the item is no good. They see you, and it doesn't help you. Plus, the Slardar reduces armor. I don't know if I mentioned that, but that was part of, like, they're all physical damage, and this guy reduces armor. So it's like, that's why I really need to get a lot of armor. Because one is just generally good, but also this guy's going to reduce armor, so I need to counteract that. And they don't have magic. So, that was a bit of a 4k swing. Does that mean you're going to lose now? No. We still should be okay late game. So we just need to, like, equalize a bit. Realize, okay, that was not the best. Let's see, what did you TP up here for? To deny the tower. Couldn't you have just walked here? Now, I guess this guy was in the area, but it's clear he didn't realize how low this tower was, because he just walked away. You know, it's about a 25-second walk. I think you have time to just walk here. I understand why you TP'd. I think I would still risk just walking there and letting him get the tower, as opposed to, Actually, do you even have Fortify? Oh, no, you don't have Fortify. Okay. If you had Fortify, I would definitely say just walk here, because if you see them run into it, you could Fortify, then you could choose to TP in, and then deny it when Fortify ends. Without Fortify, it is a bit of a risk to walk, but I still think it's good to walk, because you are Undying, which means you need to be able to rotate to these fights. Like, that is what your hero does. Like, look, a team fight's breaking out, and you can't be here. And that feels really bad. Team fight didn't actually break out, but it could have. Alright, you want to regroup with your team. You guys don't need to force objectives. We are kind of dragging it out late. I would be thinking about Roshan right now, though. Like, Ursa can do Rosh, so you want to keep vision in this area. Okay, a smoke. Who's your initiator? How will you guys start a fight without this blink? This lockdown? Medusa can't run up front. I mean, she could, but she's not good. You can run up front, but how will you stun them? Lena doesn't have a Yules. By the time she uses Light Strike Array, they might just walk or blink out. Zeus? Yeah, mini stun. This is your lockdown. This is how you get kills with the smoke. And she's not there. So this feels really bad to me. Now maybe it'll still work out. But it shouldn't. Or like the odds are stacked against you. Not necessarily that it shouldn't work. But like, you see how you found... This is actually perfect. You guys smoke up. You're walking up high ground, which is a little scary to me without vision. Medusa's going in first. I don't know if it's a bug, but Mana Shield is not even on. So technically she could get chain stunned and killed. But she's acting as your frontliner, your hard carry. And Medusa eventually does want to reach that point where she is the frontliner, but it's like, not yet. You see the Slardar, you find him, he seems to be by himself, and he just walks away. Unfortunately, you're going to find this Ursa. Oh. Kill the Ursa! Okay, we're good. But you see how that could have been like way cleaner if Elsie is the one who's there? If you have one hero who doesn't need to be there, it's Zeus, because Zeus has global abilities. Well, he at least has his ultimate. I don't think he's got the Ags yet. Yeah. But he also has bots, which means if you guys, like, if Zeus was bottom pushing this out, and then you guys smoke top, he could TP top and be there. And that way your team is playing the map a little better. And you are getting the Halberd next. I like that. That's good. And we see this guy. I hope your team knows not to group up.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
Now that you're able to get this outpost, is actually quite a safe area. But this is a little scary. I wouldn't push up too far. Right now, all that needs to happen, if you guys want to take this tower, Medusa stays around here and hits this tower. Elsie, who's the initiator and the save, because she has this dispel, she wants to stay around here. She has a blink. She can even be a little further back. That way she could blink, dispel the Medusa if they try to chain stun her. Or if she sees an out of position drow, like come up here, maybe you could blink initiate on her. Zeus wants to be in this area. He wants to be in the back. Lena, also a backline, kind of wants to be in the back. Now that you have this is kind of a safe area because it gives you vision. You have two choices. Wherever Elsie stands, you kind of stand a little bit apart. So if Elsie is up here, she's providing vision of this area. And so I think you stand like over here, where you are also in range to save your two most important heroes, Medusa and Zeus. And like, do you need to be in this area? Not really. Because Medusa will just slowly chip this tower away. Where can they initiate from? They can initiate from around here, but if Elsie's standing up here, then she will see anyone standing here. And they can also come from over here. And there's not much you can do to see this area. But that's okay, because you'll be here. And if they initiate on her, you're back here, you're ready to save. And if you see them all come from up here, you can like shift your positioning. You can run over to be a part of the fight, or like honestly, you guys just back up a little bit, right? Or like Medusa runs this way, but that doesn't feel the best because like she'll be fighting from the low ground. So I would just like back up a bit. But running up here, she's a backline support. She could die first. And then you're making space, sure, but where's your damage? Your damage is way back here. You know, they're not ready to help. You drop Tombstone, you ult. By the time she walks over, Tombstone's dead. Or maybe you're dead. You know, you have to think about like how quickly should you get here? What does Medusa have to do to join a fight over here? She has to walk all the way around these trees and then come back here. Or she has to walk under tower, like this way, which is a little faster, and then come here. Or she has to walk through the tower, which is the fastest path, but obviously, like, it's under tower. And they might say, Medusa's under the tower. Just kill her. You know? She's a lot of your damage. And so being up here is kind of out of position. Alright, I don't hate this idea of putting Tombstone up here. At the same time, you guys have been up here for a little bit now, which is starting to feel bad because you have 5 heroes splitting farm. and you're not taking this objective that fast. You know, thinking back to it, what did we say? We said we win this late game. So we just want to be efficient with our farming. I don't hate the idea of like pushing up, playing aggressive, but then if you start to get stalled out like this, who's being more efficient? Where are the lanes? They're pushed into you, top, or mid and bottom. Yeah, you guys are up here, but like we said, you're splitting farm. They're carries. They're farming freely right now, or at least Slardar is. Be like Drow, but if you're gonna spend this long here, seeing the minimap, there's still wards here. Like Zeus, you should ask him to check around this area. D ward. If you're gonna put a ward up there, which I think is a good idea, up on this high ground, then you can put the sentry on the ground, and that would actually happen to have caught this ward over here. But I do like this. If you're gonna play up here, then you want vision in this area, and you guys are kind of ready to fight in this area or back off. Now, I don't actually want you to fight like in this area exactly, because it's a little awkward, because they have mid and top, which means it's just kind of awkward when they can come from multiple angles like that. Still a little split off. You see how like Medusa's not farming that well right now? It's because your team's like all up here, but do you really need to be? Ooh. So going for this, if she had gotten that duel off, it might have been worth it. Alright, Lena's dead right off the bat. We are kind of next to Medusa. Okay, kind of leading them away from Medusa, although that's kind of their fault for getting distracted. Bot back. I don't know if you guys want to chase that Slardar anyways. So was that good for us? Probably not. Ursa did have to buy back, but you have 3 dead now, and that means they should get Roshan. Yeah, it looks like Ursa's in there. Remember how we just wanted to stall this game out, and they're the ones that need to do something? Now they can do something. Now they have Aegis, which is 5 minutes that they are stronger than you. Which didn't need to happen. We could have just, you know, chilled. After we're all up here, we just start to back off a little bit. Split up again. Some people go farm other parts. And we stay in this general area ready to defend Roche. So Zeus, for example, he has bots. So Zeus could TP down here, push out the lane, and if a fight breaks out, he has a global ability. But then you guys just try not to fight for like 40 seconds until bots are back up, and then he can just TP back in. Maybe someone runs mid, or maybe all of you. You know, you leave this area, Zeus TP's bottom, and the 4 of you just back out this way and like come over here. Someone can farm mid. You're all safe. When bots are back up, you can start pushing top again. He'll be ready to TP in. That way, you're just being a little more efficient rather than just sitting here for like what felt like 4 minutes, but I actually don't know how long you were there. And then by like doing all of that, Ursa would have never felt safe to take Roshan, right? Because the 4 of you are still in this general area, letting Medusa farm. You guys are kind of chilling. Zeus is farming efficiently by coming bottom. Then he's ready to TP in if they try to do Roshan. But now they were able to take a fight, and even though he had to buy back, he was able to get Aegis. Now you guys are still in an okay spot, I would say. You just have to hold out. And your high ground is pretty decent. In fact, it's quite good. So, I just don't want to... Alright, I was about to say, I don't want to get into a position where we could lose the game. How do we lose the game? Do we have buybacks? 2. They have Aegis. I want to fight near our high ground, because I just finished saying we have good high ground. If we go and fight them in the jungle, we don't make use of our good high ground, we don't make use of these towers that are next to us, but they get to use Aegis. I don't love this smoke. Let's see how it works out. Now, let me finish before we keep going. So we see them pressuring here. What if we saw someone pushing bottom? We saw 3 heroes mid, and we saw someone bottom. Well, then I think a smoke is good to go bottom. and kill this one hero who's by themselves, and then back off again. Are they going to push high ground 4v5, even though they have Aegis? No, they're not going to do that. What if it was Ursa down here with the Aegis? We pop Aegis, and then we all just get out. And guess what? It's pretty much an even game again. It's 5-5. He has no buyback. He doesn't have Aegis. Are they going to push like that? Probably not. And that's okay for us. We're the late game team. But smoking up into them? That's a little scary. This, like, it might work out, but it also opens up the possibility that it doesn't work out. All right, who'd she blink duel? Blink dueled Earthshaker, I believe. Was that necessary? No. Zeusalt canceled his blink anyways for 3 seconds. Oh, this does look like... I was wrong. It looked like it was going to work out well. Unfortunately, they're all getting away. Okay, you get the drow. Elsie had to buy back, though, and you guys rushed up ahead for that kill, so that's a die back. Zeus is now dead. You're going to kill him, but he's got Aegis, right? You have to run out right now. Everyone has to leave. They're going to chase. Why? Because they're stronger. I think that Ice Shards may have saved you. Oh, triple decay. Right, Zeus had to buy back now. You know how we lose games if we don't have buybacks to defend high ground? So even though you guys are holding, you now have to be very scared because you've used multiple buybacks, which means for 8 minutes, there's this window where you could lose the game. I just want to stabilize right now. Now, before, we could do that whole, like, 4 people push up, Zeus split pushes, all of that. That option's now limited. It's now very scary for Zeus to be on his own, because first off, they just got more gold, which means they now have better solo kill potential, like Ursa on his own, Slardar on his own, Drow on their own. Maybe they could kill Zeus, let alone if there's, like, multiple people there. Which means Zeus, you know, he can't even risk it, because if he dies, he doesn't have buyback. And he's a huge part of the high ground. He now needs to play very safe. So now that idea of, like, splitting the map, being efficient, that's not really there for us. Now we have to be all together, kind of trying to survive, which is not efficient for us, but it's what we need to do to try to survive this. The other team has the freedom to be much more efficient now. So defensive wards, I think, are fine. I'm just looking at the minimap. You're running into 3 of them, but again, do we want to do that? No, we just want to survive right now. If it was 1 person and we see 3 somewhere else, that's okay, right? Because that's a reduced risk for us. But we don't want to look for team engagements because that opens up the chance to lose. Their team fight is pretty solid with an Earthshaker. So, come up here. I don't mind this D ward. Maybe Zeus could have done it, but it's whatever. We see all 3 come up here. Fairly fast ult. The Tombstone, again, a little defensive. Because where are they? Look at the minimap. There are people all the way over here. Our team's here. So this is like, okay, it covers this area. But a fight is very easily also able to shift into this area. And so I think this Tombstone a little further down would be nice. Or you can communicate with your team, hey, the Tombstone's up here, let's, like, play in this top area. But as we see, like, the fight starts to move over here. Maybe this isn't fully your fault, but I do feel like the Tombstone over here would have caught more of them, which also cancels blinks, stuff like that. And if they focus the Tombstone, you still have Soul Rip to heal it. But again, we actually don't really care if they hit Tombstone, because the other option is killing Medusa right here. Right? So it's like, I'd rather lose the Tombstone than my Medusa, who I don't think has buyback right now. Yeah. Now let's keep going. Now they have split their attention over here. You still have Soul Rip. I know she's the most important hero, but she's full health. Soul Rip is low cooldown. So I don't know if using it aggressively is the best idea, as opposed to like trying to run in and heal her. Plus, you have Flesh Golem, which means you need to like be in this area to affect all of these guys. Healing her might have bought like an extra second, and like he would have died, you know? Zeus probably gonna die. Yeah. That was a lot of damage. That's pretty funny. We could lose. We could lose now. Because we don't have buybacks. Now we're losing a fight out here. Oh, this guy... That ain't cool. But yeah, you see how... Why did we even need to take that fight? We didn't really need to. But it's because we smoked up through this area. It's because we like kept trying to play as a team here, even though we knew they were all bottom as well. So what are the alternatives? Well, why don't some of us play safe? Some of us farm this area. Some of us, well, maybe one of us, pushes top because we know they're all bottom. And we're just waiting for them to come to our high ground where we excel, where we are stronger than they are. They don't have the best tower hitters. Drow, okay, Drow's pretty decent, but that kind of puts her at risk, right? That means like Legion could jump her or like Zeus could chip her down. So she doesn't feel that safe chipping high ground. And you guys are like excellent at clearing high ground, so like, we won a fight here, but instead we took a fight out here. And we didn't need to. Even if you win this fight, what do you get from this? By the time you push up to their lanes, they're all back. Maybe not all back. Maybe you do a bit of tower damage. But again, we don't care. We're not thinking about winning in the next 3 minutes. We're thinking about, okay, in 20 minutes, we should be like in a pretty decent spot. Now, they're not the worst late game against you guys. You know, to be fair, like I do think they could still win. Even in an even late game. But I personally think it's easier for you guys. You can do things like Legion pick off. You have Nimbus, so like if they try to split up, you can ults, cancel their TP, take a 4v5, things like that. You have Medusa, you know, she buys Rapier. She gets this like super tanky level. You buy like Solar Crest or Halberd, you start protecting her. Lina scales as a core. I'm looking for a pick off. I don't mind looking for a pick off. Unfortunately, we're not going to get the duel. Now, okay, we've missed the chance for pick off. We back off. We're still just trying to draw it out. You have now like started to be quite behind, so now we definitely can't like take these kind of fights too easily. The game is not over, but it's tough. Okay, you guys do back off. You are surviving all these stuff, so you're actually quite leveled, which is unfortunate. It's like not how you want it to go. What's Medusa got? Working on MKB. They've got the Halberd. I'd probably use it. I guess it depends on the situation. Drow might be best because Ursa has the status resistance, but if you can get it on him before he uses his ult, that's not too bad. Okay, Roshan is up. We don't actually want to try to take it unless we win a team fight. And winning a team fight right now is kind of hard. But if they go in for it, maybe we can do something. Uh-oh, he dead. She dead. How does this game go on for 15 more minutes, actually? You should do Aegis right now. Alright, there it is. And they should end the game with that, in my opinion. You guys keep leaving your base to... Like, you guys keep getting caught out your base, and so I would want to do that one more time for them. If I was them, I'm thinking, like, wait for them to leave their base again, we kill them. And then we take their base. I think you guys know that. You kind of have to, like, chill. Hey, you're kind of looking for a smoke kill. Okay, you know what? not bad. When you're this behind, you kind of have to do stuff like that. Playing standard would be tough right now, so I don't hate it. That was a high risk, kind of not low reward, but you know, it does mean you've essentially bought however long he was dead. I missed the exact cooldown. But from this point, you have 40 more seconds where they're not going to push high ground because you guys are all alive. You guys could actually all push together right now. Pick a lane. I would say top because it's closest here. And because this triangle is kind of nice to de-ward and all that. Because they're dead, they are unlikely to fight right now. I don't know if you... In fact, let's back up. Let's see if we saw them. Oops, let's just do... Okay, we killed them. Let's keep an eye on the minimap. Okay, this guy in this area. 2 guys in that area. Are they backing off? They are. They're leaving because Slardar died. They're up. They came up here. We have wards on both our entrances. Actually, this one is not quite covered. But it's not likely there are four people are going to sit here while Slardar's dead. They're probably just going to back up and play safe. Which means all 5 of you can push up here, push us out, get some farm, come de-ward this area, maybe put a ward somewhere, farm this area. Like, take advantage of the fact he's dead. But instead you have 5 people sitting in your base not doing anything. But this is like when it's safest for you to do something. And if we look at, like, they know. They're like, okay, we have to wait for Slaughter to be up. So everyone plays safe. So they're all on their half of the map. Now, I know you don't quite see that. But conceptually, doesn't it make sense that, like, why would they try to take a 4v5 fight? Like, they might lose Aegis. Like, yeah, they have Aegis, but, like, you could lose it. Because without Slardar, he's 15k. I know it's not the perfect comparison. But 15k out of this 20k advantage means they're only 5k up. You could easily win a fight like that. They know that, so they play safe. And if they don't know, and they're still up here farming, you guys might try to take that fight. And if they aren't all together and they're split up, you guys want that. You want to kill like 1 or 2 of them. 5 on 5 of you guys, find 2 people to kill. That's how you like start to climb back into the game. Plus you snowball it. Like now those guys are dead for a while, and now they still can't push. Instead you guys gotta just sit in your base. And the other team is getting to farm freely this whole time. See, it's kind of funny. Now you guys push up. Because runes spawned, you guys are like, oh, we gotta get runes. And now you guys push up after Slardar is alive. That doesn't make much sense. Although you do see 2 bottom, so maybe it feels a little safer to come up here. But, like, still, doesn't make sense to push when Slardar is dead. Now, you all need to be together, of course, but it's something you can do. Now that Slardar's alive, what are they doing? Now they're sieging your high ground, because he's up. They weren't going to do this until Slardar was alive. Which means you were safe to push out for a little bit. Okay, I would expect them to, like, slowly chip this down, and you guys honestly probably just have to give it up. Because they have Aegis. I don't think you can really do anything about it. You kind of have to wait for Aegis to expire, and wait, and they'll probably take this in that time. But we just want to... Like, how do we lose if these people die without buybacks? And they don't have buybacks right now, so if they were to die, we could just lose. So we want to do what we're doing, slow them out. You need to move your screen a little higher, though. You gotta see, like, do you need to see any of this? Let's go back to your perspective real quick. This is a little, I don't know if this is mean, but what do you need to see from here? This whole bottom half is, like, useless information. And even this side, like, you know the enemy's not there. If you know your general position, that's fine. You don't even have to move around that much, but you can. Like, move and then move your screen over. What do I need to see? I need to see these guys trying to blink in. I need to see where the cores are positioned. I need to keep in mind where my core is positioned. I want to be there to help. Now, Legion is near her, so, like, that's not too bad. But, like, this is what I need to see, you know? Over here, I need to see where these guys are moving, where they're blinking in. Is there an opportunity? There's not really going to be an opportunity here, but, like, sometimes there will be. And seeing this bottom half is, like, not useful. I feel like I can't see what, like, my Medusa's doing. She's at the edge of my screen. There's a very defensive tombstone. Turns out they're all going to run into it, but they're so ahead. Doesn't really matter. Okay, they might have dove a little too hard. I thought he had Aegis. Or did it just expire during that? Ooh. Or did... I think it expired. Ooh. They wanted to do this 10 seconds earlier. Alright. This might actually be a window then, if this guy's dead. Okay. You have the halberd. You gotta run in there and use it, you know? Take up space. You have 4k health. Make them hit you. You're like chilling in the back with like 4,000 health and evasion and some magic resist. I also noticed they're way better. Armor. This is fantastic. 5 armor. Grab this. The Van Brace, passable. Actually, Craggy Coat. I didn't even see that. Yeah, Craggy Coat's way better. 12 armor. Either one of these. You know, obviously no one's using this one, so I would take this one. But if someone else was using this, then I would take this. Like, why are you two using tier 1 neutrals at this stage of the game? This is 2 armor. I don't care about the intelligence. 5 armor. 12 armor. Van Brace, putting it on agility, you know, that's like 1 point something armor and some other stats. This, almost 2 armor and gives you, like, some better stats. Actually, maybe it's not. No, I think it is better. But yeah, like, you need to change out the neutral. Yeah, you really need to be, like, in the front right now. Because your ult... Okay, let's look at this ult. It slows. That's cool. And it amplifies damage by 35%. That is insane. 35% is a huge amount. And so, we need to be right up here amplifying her damage. We need to be slowing them in the back. We need to be up here making them want to hit us instead of Medusa because you have 4,000 health. And evasion. Not a lot of armor. Could have had more armor with like a Craggy Coat. Okay. Had to use buybacks, but Medusa now has her buyback. Fortunately, he died after Aegis. That kind of gave you a bit more time. I might be thinking Desperation Divine here. This is pretty tough. They can wait for the next Aegis and then just do the same thing top. But take a cleaner fight. Like if Ursa hadn't died before Aegis, you guys would have just lost right here. Like he messed up, and that gave you guys a chance to come back. But they shouldn't have. They should have already won. And that's why this game goes 50 minutes.
On the hunt for radiant forces. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
You can use this active too. Give her mana. Give yourself mana. Get it on cooldown. Even if you're gonna have it.
Radiant's bottom barracks.
I don't think you really need a ward here. Where are they gonna play most likely right now? 2 locations. One, they're gonna come bottom because there's a weak. This is really throwing me off. There's a weak Rax here, so they could slowly push it. But at the same time, it's a ranged Rax, and they already have one of them, so they don't really need to take this. Wouldn't it be a lot better for them to just only stay top right now, all as a 5, because they can't lose a fight right now. They're so ahead. If a 5-on-5 breaks out, they should win it. They should all stay top so they don't throw. And they just need to get this last set of racks. Benefit of being top, Roshan. When it spawns again soon enough, it can start spawning in about 2 minutes. They'll be in this area. So where are they likely to be that you need to see them? They could be bottom, but it's very unlikely. And much more likely is that they'll be top. Or they'll be around Roche. So I think if you want to place wards while your team is free, like you know, won that fight, you had some space, I would take the time to place some wards up here. If you had like a Quelling Blade, cut this tree, place it there. Those are very safe, unlikely to get dewarded. You know, maybe one over here, something like back here. Things that are less likely to get dewarded. Or you can put in your own base too, you know, because they are likely to play in this area, so it'd be good to see them. This one, not so much. They don't need to be in this area. It does let you see the rune, that's true. But, I don't know. Okay, and even with that rune and we saw them coming down. Alright, we see them pushing mid. Let me slow it down. Okay, maybe you didn't quite know, but... Alright, to be fair, I think it is weird for them to all come bottom. But we did consider it as a potential, right? That they might come for this last Rax, and I don't think that's good. Who was that? Orange? Orange should not TP down here yet. We see all of them. She should push out top right now. Whoever... I'm going to point it out on Lena, but it could have very easily been Medusa, whoever was up there. You know they're all coming bottom, right? They're going to come get this Rax because they just killed you here. Someone needs to shove this lane out as fast as possible. And as far as possible. Just because it's farm, it's space, it's vision. When they... Like, eventually they get this Rax. Let's say they get it. They back off. What do they want to do? They want to come top. They want the creeps top. What if the wave was all the way here? Then they need to push all the way here. That's about a minute. A little less. But, you know, it takes them a minute to push down here. We're all about stalling out the game. What if we don't push out top? It's right here. This is about 30 seconds. 30 seconds they're here. That is not as much time as 1 minute. You might have to buy back. Actually, I wouldn't have to buy back for that bottom Rax, but they're probably just going to run top, and now you have to buy back. So now they force you to buy back. And look, now this lane is right here. They're ready to come. Like, you bought back, and you have about 10 seconds before they're at your base again. Whereas if this lane had been shoved out, they would have had to go all the way up there. Because even though, like, backdoor would have been broken by these, like, do they need to take a 5-on-5 under the tower? Like, nah, we'll just play safe. We'll bring the wave. And that's why it's really important to push it out by that time. Not your fault, but I feel like I need to point it out. It's important to know conceptually what should have happened. And in case you're ever the one up there, many times when I'm Jakiro and my team loses a team fight, I immediately go to the safest lane I can. If I think I can do this, like, I go to a lane and shove it out. And because I'm thinking about buying time. Okay, this scares me. You guys would never... I don't think you guys ever win a Roshan fight. Maybe because he's taking some damage from Roshan, but, like, they are so far ahead. You don't know this number, of course, but, like, you should feel that you guys are really behind. And so you need the bonus from these towers, from being close to your fountain, from being close to buyback. I don't think you guys can contest Roche. And if you think they're doing Roche, what should you do? You should push out bottom and maybe mid. Maybe. But only if you think they're all at Roche. If they have a hero like Storm Spirit, then you can't do it. Your tombstones are really defensive. I think they need to be a little further up on some of these. Like, I don't think this is even affecting anyone yet. Now it's affecting him because he ran in further. But, like, for the beginning, it wasn't affecting anyone. I'm a little scared chasing up, but... Okay, definitely time to get out. They're all buying back. Just get back. We're just trying to buy space, right? We have pushed him out. This is even further than I feel comfortable. I would just back up. Go push out all the lanes again. And now we sit in the base and wait again. Medusa? Oh, she's... Oh, no, she's getting the Daedalus. I thought it was Divine. Daedalus is alright. I don't know. I feel the pressure of, like, we are snowballing. Maybe you need a Divine. But also, Daedalus is also a lot of damage and safer. So, can't really complain. Both cores don't need to come up here to do it, right? What if they both got echoed? One of you needs to recognize we don't need to risk both our lives. Who has buyback? No one. Anyone dying is the end of the game right now. Unless you get a, like, serious return kill. But even then, anyone dying is probably the game. Now, they also spent some of their buybacks, so that kind of gives you guys a window where if you kill some of the people without buybacks, that's good. We see 2 people down there with haste. We see 1 there. I'm still too scared to leave my base, though. I mean, at this point, the game is extremely difficult to come back. I mean, you guys are down 30k, 1 Rax left, and it's open. That's why I feel like Desperation Divine. You know, I feel like I need it. True Strike and massive damage. Oh, why are we looking at Medusa, actually? My bad. Yeah, there's not much to talk about at this point. You guys are, like, trapped. You need them to go, like, dive way too hard, like, into Fountain, do really dumb stuff, miss their spells. Like, at this point, there's very little you can do to win. I don't even hate this smoke, because you need to get a pick off to, like, continue to buy time. But this smoke is probably going to end the game. Especially because you know they're all top, and you guys are running top. And that doesn't feel good. At best, if you want this to work, you need to hope you find someone here because you actually see this guy alone. Actually, maybe you guys knew they were bottom. Oh, maybe this... Let's see how this goes. Alright, you find a pickoff, but Ursa just kills whoever that was. Oh, this buyback came back. You get right next to her, dude. She's everything to you right now. You have 4,000 health. She's the world to you. You get on top of her and literally hope they right-click you instead of Medusa with your giant model. If she's dead, the game is over. You being alive means nothing. If Medusa dies, the game is done. You have to be, like, right in here, not playing safe. I mean, you'd probably still both die there, to be honest. But other games where it's a little closer, like, you have to get up there. Because, like, this is it, right? It doesn't matter that you're alive right now. Without Medusa, there's literally nothing you guys can do. Unless they all die if you're Fountain. Oh, this is unnecessary racism? Can I mute this guy? Oh, I can! Alright, we know that guy is racist. So I would say the start go downhill at 25 minutes. And if we look at the graph, hey, look at that. Right? This is where you guys were kind of in the lead. And then you guys were like spending too much time in their jungle and you didn't really need to be. And it kind of just snowballed into a loss. Because you end up using like some buybacks eventually at some point. And I mean, yeah, we talked through it for like an hour and a half. Your laning went pretty well. Right? You guys got like 6 kills or something. We talked a little bit how you could improve it. Drop that ward before TPing out if you need to. Ideally, you would drop the ward and walk out so you can TP back. We talked about a case where like you could have walked instead of TPing, and that would have let you respawn bottom. But those kind of things are what help you transition out of that early laning stage and into doing other stuff. Like you're stronger than 3 of their heroes at 10 minutes. You know, what if you made your way top with the LC and the Lina? Like, you can pressure that tower. Ursa has to be scared of the 3 of you because you could steal all his strength and slowly get the kill on him. He's doing well, too, but, like, he needs to do well. He's an Ursa. If you have a Medusa doing this well, that's a little scary. Medusa just wants to free farm right now, and that's why you leave that ward to give her that space to do so. Like, mid's winning as well. Like, the 4 of you are ready to make space while Medusa farms and just repeat that pattern. But instead, you guys, like, went all together, and so Medusa was not farming. And funny enough, the enemy team was the one farming. Like, the enemy team was playing how you should have played around 25 minutes. Where, like, they were split up and they were catching up. And that's kind of how they won. And then he made a mistake. You guys maybe had a chance to come back there. It was still going to be really hard at that point. But it's possible, like, if you guys snowball that into constantly looking for more pickoffs, playing aggressively while... Actually, it wasn't Ursa, right? It was, like, Slardar who was dead at some point, and you guys had the chance to move out, but you guys weren't. Like, that is when you guys start to... Like, that is your chance to come back, is to look for kills, snowball it, so that they constantly have one man down, and they don't want to push you. And then the itemization. This Glimmer was just not useful. This one. Halberd's good. But Tranquil's unneeded. Glimmer, unneeded. I think this could have easily been... You know, this could have been brown boots and a mech. That puts you very... That's very, like, mana straining for Undying. But, like, if you had an arcane ring, it's doable. And, you know, you could even get the arcane boots. So then it's not an issue. Arcane boots would have been nice for your team. But it also would have helped you have the mana for the mech. And if you really wanted, you could even possibly get mech first. And then maybe like a mango or 2. Or if you have this arcane ring, you don't need anything. And then get the arcane boots after that. But I think it's probably more common to get the arcane boots to spam out Soul Rip and to push together. I think that's more standard. Okay. I think that's about it. Honestly, like you said, the laning was good. But think about your items a little better. Make sure they fit the game. Because if you spend your... Like, this Glimmer Cape is, to me, essentially... kind of useless. That's coming kind of harsh, but I do want to paint that picture where it's like, you are winning, but if we take away 1900 gold because we spent it on something not so useful. Like you have, when did you buy, let's see, player items, when did this Glimmer come in? You got this Glimmer at 15 minutes. So at 15 minutes, your net worth was about 3.5. And if we take away 2K from that, it's like 1.5. And that's kind of what investing your money into an item that's not useful does. It means like your 2K advantage is literally not put into anything useful. And how are you supposed to snowball that? It's tough, right? Now, it's not totally useless. It did save you like once or twice, but it could have been something way better. And that would have helped that middle game area feel better. Maybe even that 25-minute timing when I said, like, I don't think you guys really need to do this. Maybe that does work out if this item is like a mech or a medallion. Maybe it's even a halberd at that point. Maybe you rush a halberd. That doesn't seem the best to me, but maybe it's drums, you know? Some kind of team item that helps you do these things that add more value than the Glimmer Cape. But the laning was good. And that makes it a little easier, right? It's easier to decide, oh, I'll just buy different items rather than it is to like fix your laning mechanics. So if you keep laning like that, you'll be good. And you just need to like consider these item choices. That would be my recommendation. Keep laning the way you were. Like, obviously, it can be improved a little bit, but, like, honestly, laning was not an issue for this level. Fix your itemization. That should help you improve right from there. The big metagame decisions of, like, oh, push this lane, farm out this, like, that's obviously really hard to, like, just do just like that. So I wouldn't worry too much about, oh, I need to always know what I need to do. I would just start with the itemization, and that should help you break out a Crusader. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Stay hydrated.